Welcome back to Toxic Relationship Stories. I'm George.
And I'm Anna. We're so glad you're here with us. This is a space where we share and unpack anonymous stories about difficult relationships.
As always, a quick reminder that every story is shared with consent from the writer. We change names and identifying details to protect everyone's privacy.
Our goal here is to create a safe space to listen without judgment and to maybe find some clarity together. So, if you're listening, get comfortable and let's get into today's story. I never thought I'd be the kind of person who could be deceived so completely, but love has a way of making you blind or maybe just willing to overlook the things that don't add up.
It started with small things. The way Mark would sometimes disappear for hours without explanation. Just running errands, he'd say, or had to help a friend. At first, I believed him. Why wouldn't I? He was kind, attentive, always knew exactly what to say to make me feel special. But then the gaps in his stories began to show.
He's building that foundation of trust, that attentiveness, which makes the later lies so much harder to see. One evening, he told me he was working late. I called his office on a whim just to see if he wanted me to bring him dinner. The receptionist said he'd left hours ago. When I asked him about it later, he laughed it off. "Oh, I must have forgotten to tell you. I had a last-minute meeting across town." He kissed my forehead like it was nothing, and I let it go.
Wow, the casualness of that lie, and the physical affection to immediately dismiss the concern. That's a classic deflection tactic, but the inconsistencies piled up. Receipts in his jacket pocket for places he'd never mentioned. A second phone I found in his gym bag, just sitting there, silent, like a secret waiting to be uncovered. When I confronted him, he looked me straight in the eye and said it was a work phone, and I nodded, because part of me still wanted to believe him.
"Oh, the second phone, that is such a concrete, undeniable red flag, but the power of wanting to believe someone, it makes you doubt your own eyes." The worst part, even as the doubts grew, I stayed. Because when he was with me, he was perfect. The way he'd remember little things, my favorite coffee order, the song I'd mentioned loving once. He made me feel like I was the only person who mattered. And maybe that was the point. Maybe that was how he kept me from asking too many questions.
Exactly. That's the hook. That intermittent reinforcement. The perfect moments are the glue that holds the whole deceptive structure together. Then came the night I saw her. I was out here with friends at a restaurant across town when I spotted him through the window. He was sitting at a corner table, leaning in close to a woman I'd never seen before. The way he touched her hand, it was the same way he touched mine. My stomach dropped. I stood there, frozen.
I didn't confront him. Instead, I went home and waited. When he finally walked in, he was all smiles, pulling me into a hug like nothing was wrong. "Missed you today," he murmured against my hair. I wanted to scream. I wanted to demand answers, but I just nodded and lay awake beside him, wondering how many other nights he'd spent with her before coming home to me.
The dissonance there is just crushing. The person acting like your loving partner is the same one who just shattered your reality. The next morning, I did something I'd never done before. I followed him. He drove to an apartment complex on the other side of the city. I watched from my car as he walked inside. No hesitation, like he'd done it 100 times. I sat there for an hour. Part of me still wanted to believe there was an explanation, but the other part knew the truth. I just wasn't ready to face it yet.
Then one afternoon, I found the key. It was tucked in the back of his sock drawer, small and silver. That night, while he slept, I drove back to the apartment complex. The key fit Unit 14B. On the nightstand sat a framed photo of them. A noise from the hallway made me freeze. Footsteps, a key turning in the lock. I barely had time to duck into the closet. I saw her first, then Mark. He kissed her, slow and deep. They ordered takeout. They talked about work, about a vacation they were planning. Normal couple things.
He's living a completely parallel life. And the normal couple things must be the most painful part to witness. I waited until their breathing evened out before slipping out. Mark was gone when I woke up the next morning. Another lie. I packed my things slowly, methodically, dismantling a life I'd never really had.
That quiet resolve, after all the chaos and the lies, that methodical packing, that's her taking her power back. It's heartbreaking, but so strong. He called 4 times. I finally answered. "Hey, babe," he said. "You okay?" I looked at the empty space where my toothbrush used to sit. "I'm fine," I said, "just needed some air." "Okay." He sounded relieved. "I'll see you tonight." "Yeah," I lied, "tonight."
The final lie is hers. That's powerful. He's relieved because her being fine means his double life is still safe. He has no idea. I hung up and turned off my phone. The sun was high by the time I pulled away, the rearview mirror filling with the shape of a house that had never really been mine. I didn't look back.
Wow, what an incredibly painful and powerful story. Just not looking back, that takes everything.
That was a masterclass in deception on his part. The way he constructed this reality for her was so meticulous. He used affection and attentiveness as a smokescreen for this massive, elaborate lie.
Exactly. And what stands out to me is how she kept saying, part of me still wanted to believe him. That's not a weakness. He weaponized her trust against her.
And that's the core of it. Your gut is telling you something is wrong, but the person you trust most is telling you you're crazy. That conflict is exhausting.
It is. And, if this were my friend telling me this story, after making sure she was safe, the first thing I would tell her is, none of this was your fault. His deception is not a reflection of your worth or your intelligence. It's a reflection of his character.
I completely agree. You didn't miss the signs because you were naive. You overlooked them because you were in love and chose to see the best in him.
My advice would be to allow yourself to feel everything: the anger, the grief, the betrayal. Surround yourself with people who remind you of what real, honest love feels like. Friends, family, people who don't make you second-guess reality.
And from a practical standpoint, block him. Everywhere. A person capable of this level of deceit will likely just lie more. The most powerful statement she made was turning off her phone and driving away. Her actions were her closure.
Yes, she found her own truth. She didn't need him to admit it. That's the ultimate act of reclaiming your power.
Thank you so much to the brave writer who shared this story with us. Your strength is incredible.
And thank you to everyone for listening. If this story resonated with you, please feel free to continue the conversation in the comments. We love hearing from you.
Please remember to like, subscribe, and share the podcast. It really helps us reach more people.
If you have a story you'd like to share anonymously, there's a Google form link in the comments section. We would be honored to help you tell it. We'll see you next time.